Hey, how you guys doing? Welcome to the Lee Homestead. In today's video, we're going to talk about 4 tips on how to start your own homestead. So this morning I'm out on our front porch enjoying the weather and decided I'd make a video on the 4 tips that will help you guys be successful in creating your own homesteads. Drinking my coffee out of my very manly Pioneer Woman mug. My wife loves Pioneer Woman, so that's what we end up getting. Happy wife, happy life. But anyway, our first tip is to consider how much land you have. So we live in rural Virginia. We have 2 acres. So this is what we could afford to start out with. Eventually we do want to expand. But to start out with, you got to deal with what you have. Do you have 2 acres like we do? Do you have only 1 acre? Do you have a half acre? That's really going to decide how big of a homestead that you're able to create. So after you consider your land size, you really want to make a plan and decide exactly what you want in your homestead. Do you want to grow your own vegetables so you don't have to go get fresh veggies from the store? Do you want to provide your own meat like we do? We have meat birds and laying hens as well as pigs that we are going to end up breeding for our own meat. So with making your plan, you got to set up your goals and decide exactly what you want in your homestead and make a mock layout of where you can put it. So after you make your plan and decide roughly where you want to put your garden, your first set of animals, you know, what the best animals are for you, you want to go ahead and prepare for them. So you want to do your research and prepare for your first animals. So the reason we picked chickens as our first homestead animal is because chickens are extremely easy. Hey Haggard, how's it going? See, you got Haggard here. He's eating his food and enjoying life. Interrupted me. Anyway, where was I? Sorry about that. So you decide what type of animal. So we ended up getting chickens because they would work out best for us. Chickens are easy starter animals, and if you've never had animals before, there's a lot of research out there on what you can do. We have plenty of videos on getting started with chickens. So and the good news is about chickens, if you only have a half acre to an acre, of course, obviously you got to decide whether or not you have neighbors and take things into consideration as far as that goes, because the smell and things, you really don't want to be making your neighbors angry. So if you have neighbors that are super close and they mind if you have chickens and things, you might either want to consider having something else for your homestead or possibly moving. But anyway, chickens are really easy to keep. You can keep them in a small coop, keep 1 or 2 for eggs and such. But you really want 2 different coops if you want to do like a meat bird and where you can keep your roosters for meat and some of your hens for laying like we do. But you want to have a little bit more property for something like that because you really want the room to be able to have your chickens. And of course, one thing that you have to consider, do you have the room, if you do have chickens, to let them free range? So these are all the things that you need to consider before actually starting your own homestead. So before we get to the 4th and final tip, I'm going to show you a little bit around our homestead, show you some of our chickens and our pigs, and at least it might give you some ideas when you're starting your own homestead. So the first stop on our homestead is to see Beauty and Beast, our Kune Kune pigs. They are a New Zealand breed, and they're absolutely fantastic. These pigs are our breeding stock. Hey, Beast. And they are super friendly, as you can tell. Hey, how's it going? Oh, you're going back to eating? Okay. So these are our they're a New Zealand breed, and these are registered with the American Kune Kune Pig Society. These are fantastic pigs to have. They are very easy to keep. They are extremely friendly. Great with kids. I have 3 of my own, 3 young ones, and they're just fantastic to have. So if you're considering getting pigs, consider finding a Kune Kune pig breeder. Hey, in about a year, we'll be selling them ourselves here in Virginia. So hit me up in the comments if eventually you'd be interested in buying some pigs from us. Because we're going to sell meat pigs and some pigs for pets. Because these are the only breeding pair we have, we can't sell breeding stock quite yet. But when we expand, we definitely plan on having some breeding stock for sale. So stop number 2 is our red sex link chickens. Right now, these are our laying hens that will get culled here in a few months when our leghorns start actually laying. So of course we had some really bad rain this last week, so their coop their run's a little bit muddy. The reason that I'm not able to have them free range where we're at is we have way too many hawks. So hawks will pick them off. I actually had one of my leghorns escape and a hawk carried one of them off, and it didn't take long for it to get carried off. So that's why I don't free range. But one thing that you have to consider is run size of how many chickens. I have 13 of the red sex-links, and I have plenty of room for them to be able to peck and pick. And I'm also starting to install swings and ladders for them to enjoy. Here are our white leghorn hens and their coop. As you can tell, I learned a lot. This is the second coop I built, so I learned a lot from the first. I still have to make some improvements to the first one, but it gets the job done. These are going to be our new laying hens, and I installed a swing. As you can tell, I used just a piece of wood, drilled a hole in it, used 550 cord to hang it up. But here are white leghorn hens, and here in about a month they will be laying, and I'll be looking at calling our red sex-links for food so our roosters can go in the bigger coop. So here's the last stop on our fourth and final tip. Here are our roosters that we will have as meat birds, and one lucky rooster will be going to be our rooster that will fertilize all of our eggs so we can incubate our own. So that's some of our animals, well actually all of our animals, to where you can see how we kind of had it set up and what we built within a year. So it was just a little bit over a year that we brought in all these animals and started keeping them. They are absolutely fantastic to have. I love chickens. I love the Kune pigs. Eventually, we'll be looking at getting more once we get more property. But for the 2 acres that we have and the garden and things, the size garden that we want, that's about all we have room for. Because the one thing that you want to consider when you're making your plan is proper spacing, so you're not overcrowding your chickens and pigs and making their lives miserable. Because part of even, providing our own meat, we want to do it humanely. We want them to have a really good life before they turn into food. Now, Beauty and Beast, our Kune pigs, they're going to be our breeding stock, so they'll be bred until they can't be bred anymore. So they're going to live a happy and healthy life until they die of old age. But the fourth and final tip is you really got to consider the cost. How much money do you have? How are you going to pay for your animals, your feed, and that sort of thing? It should really go without saying, but however, a lot of people impulse buy these types of animals, especially chickens. You go to a farm store or something and you don't do your research. I urge you want to start your own homestead, make a plan, consider how much it's going to cost, do the research on spacing. The pigs, you want to have, like, these pigs are grazing pigs, so they need to have some space to graze. Plus, we also feed them some of the Purina plant-based pellets. So, you really got to consider how you're going to feed them, what you have, how are they going to forage, that sort of thing. Because, they're grazing pigs, so they love to forage. If you take that away from them, they're kind of miserable. So you definitely don't want to do that. And the chickens, you want to at least have about 2 square foot a piece in the coop and 4 square foot a piece in the run when you consider spacing and exactly how much room you need and how many chickens you want. So anyway, I hope this helps. I hope you guys have a happy and blessed day, and thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.